The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of my Seattle apartment like it was trying to break in, mirroring the storm raging inside me as I stared at the pregnancy test on the bathroom counter. Elias's, not mine, but the two pink lines blurred everything. "Noah, it's yours," he whispered from the doorway, his voice cracking like thunder. Eyes wide with a terror I'd only seen once before, the night we buried our secrets in the woods behind Ridge Valley High. I dropped the whiskey glass, shards exploding across the tile, because in that shattered moment, I realized loving him had never been a choice. It was the gravity I'd been falling into since we were kids, stealing kisses under the bleachers, pretending they meant nothing. I always thought straight lines were my thing. Clean, predictable paths from point A to B, no detours, no curves that could wreck you. That's how I built my life in this drizzly corner of the world. A junior architect at a firm overlooking Puget Sound, sketching blueprints for condos that pierced the evergray sky, dating women who laughed at my dumb jokes and never asked about the ghost in my rearview. Seattle suited me. Its perpetual mist hid the cracks, let you blend into the fog like you belonged there. But Elias Whitaker? He was the detour I never saw coming, the childhood friend who'd crash back into my orbit like a rogue wave, pulling me under before I could even yell for air. We grew up in Ridge Valley, a speck of a town tucked in the Cascades, where the evergreens whispered secrets to the wind and the summers smelled like pine sap and freedom. Eli and I were inseparable from the jump, two scrawny 8-year-olds trading comic books under the old oak in my backyard. Him with his wild auburn curls and freckles like constellations, me with my straightest seriousness and a backpack full of dreams about escaping to the city. He was the spark, I was the steady burn. We'd bike down to Willow Creek, skipping rocks until our arms ached, laughing about how we'd conquer the world together. "You're my anchor, Noah," he'd say, slinging an arm around my shoulders, his touch lingering just a beat too long even then. I chalked it up to brotherly bullshit because that's what straight guys do, ignore the heat under the skin. High school hit like a freight train. Ridge Valley High was all flannel and football, where being different meant dodging sideways glances or worse. Eli bloomed into this quiet intensity, tall, lean, with eyes like smoked quartz that saw right through you. He joined the drama club, stealing scenes in plays about lost boys and forbidden loves, while I buried myself in drafting classes, sketching houses that felt safer than the one I lived in. My folks were solid but distant. Dad a logger with calloused hands and a temper like winter frost, Mom baking pies that tasted like apology. Eli's family? Powder keg. His dad, Harlan Whitaker, was the town mechanic, all grease-stained overalls and Bible-thumping rants about sin, while his mom faded into the background like a watercolor washout. That's when the secrets started piling up. Junior year, after a game where our team got slaughtered, Eli dragged me to the bleachers, the air thick with the scent of wet grass and cheap beer from the parking lot. We passed a flask of his dad's bourbon, the burn chasing away the chill. "Noah," he said, voice low and ragged, "what if I told you I don't look at girls the way you do?" My heart stuttered, but I played it cool, punching his arm. "Then you're an idiot, man. Girls are the point." He laughed, but it died quick, and in the shadows, his hand found mine, fingers lacing like they were made for it. We didn't kiss that night. Not yet. But the air crackled, electric with what we weren't saying. By senior year, it was inevitable. Prom night, under a sky bruised purple, we ditched the dance for the woods behind the school. The fireflies danced like faulty stars as we leaned against that same oak. Ties loosened, breaths mingling in the humid dark. "I can't pretend anymore," Eli murmured, and then his lips were on mine, soft, desperate, tasting of punch and peppermint gum. It wasn't fireworks. It was a slow unraveling, my world tilting on its axis. I pulled back, chest heaving, whispering, "This doesn't change shit, right? We're still us." He nodded, eyes shining, but we both knew it did. That summer blurred into stolen moments. Hands under blankets at drive-in movies, bodies pressed close in the cab of my beat-up Ford, whispers of forever that tasted like lies we told ourselves. College split us, me to UW in Seattle for architecture, him to a community college back home, chasing theater dreams on a shoestring. We texted nonstop at first, those late-night confessions keeping the thread alive. "Miss your stupid face," he'd send, with a selfie from some rainy rehearsal, curls plastered to his forehead. I'd reply with building sketches, doodling our initials in the margins. But distance has a way of eroding edges, and by junior year the messages tapered. I dove into frat parties and a string of girlfriends. Sarah with her laugh like wind chimes, then Mia, who baked scones that reminded me of home. Eli? He ghosted for months, then reappeared with vague stories about figuring shit out. I let it slide because straight guys don't chase ghosts. Fast forward 8 years. I'm 28, single again after Mia bailed for a tech bro in Silicon Valley, staring down blueprints in a glass tower that feels more like a cage. Seattle's my city now, craft breweries in Ballard, hikes up to Rattlesnake Ledge on weekends, the Space Needle winking like a distant promise. But loneliness creeps in like the fog off the Sound, thick and unrelenting. That's when Eli calls, out of the blue, voice like gravel over the line. "Noah? It's me. I need to see you. Tomorrow. Please." I should have said no. Hung up and ordered Thai from that spot on Capitol Hill. But I hear the break in his words, the echo of that boy under the bleachers, and I'm driving east the next dawn. Tires eating up the I-90 bridge, the Olympics rising like jagged teeth on the horizon. Ridge Valley hasn't changed. Same faded welcome sign. Same diner slinging hash browns that stick to your ribs. Eli waits on the porch of his childhood home. Older now, lines etched around those quartz eyes, a faint scar on his jaw from God knows what. He's a bartender at some dive in Yakima now, chasing gigs in community theater. But the spark's still there, dimmed but defiant. We hug awkward at first, then tighter, his chin hooking over my shoulder like it used to. "God, you smell like pine," he mutters, and I laugh, shoving him back. Inside, the house reeks of stale smoke and regret. His dad's long gone. Cancer took him 2 years back. Mom's in a facility up north with dementia nibbling at her edges. We crack beers in the kitchen, the fridge humming like an old friend, and the words tumble out. He left Seattle after college, bounced around, fell into a crowd in Portland, artsy types, queer nights at underground clubs. "I dated this guy," he says, staring at the linoleum. "Beckett, intense. Called me his muse." I nod, ignoring the twist in my gut, because straight guys don't get jealous over exes. Beckett Kane. The name lands like a stone in still water. Eli sketches him quick, tall, tattooed, a sculptor with hands like vices and a laugh that could charm the devil. They met at a gallery opening, sparks flying over absinthe and abstract nudes. He was everything I wasn't, Eli admits, fingers tracing the beer label. Wild, unapologetic. Made me feel seen, but it soured fast. Beck's jealousy a living thing, accusations flying like shrapnel. Eli fled back east, but not before Beckett branded him with words that lingered. "You're mine, Whitaker. Always." We drive out to Willow Creek that afternoon, the water rushing like it remembers us. Sitting on the bank, boots in the mud, Eli turns to me, eyes fierce. "Noah, I never stopped. You know that, right?" My throat closes, the air heavy with unsaid summers. I want to bolt, label it nostalgia, but his hand on my knee roots me. "I'm straight, Eli. You know that." The words taste like ash. He smiles, sad and knowing. "Yeah, I do." That night, back in his spare room, I can't sleep. The walls creak with ghosts. Our laughter, our touches, the promises we buried. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, Anchor. Heard you're in town." Beckett says hi. He misses his wifey. My blood runs cold. Wifey? The word hits like a slap, dredging up a memory I'd shoved deep. That summer after prom, Eli and Beckett crashing at my folks' cabin uninvited. The three of us drunk on cheap wine, Beckett slinging an arm around me, slurring, "Noah, you're the glue man." Eli's lucky, wifey material right here. We'd laughed it off, but now it claws back, twisted. Morning brings coffee black as sin, Eli oblivious as we pack for the drive back. But the seeds planted, doubt sprouting like weeds. Who the hell is this Beckett really? And why does Wifey feel like a collar I never agreed to wear? As we merge onto the highway, Seattle's skyline swallowing us whole, Eli glances over, hand hovering near mine. Thanks for coming, Noah. Means everything. I nod, gripping the wheel tighter, because the straight line I swore by is cracking and the detours calling my name. The drive back to Seattle was a blur of windshield wipers slapping rhythm and old playlists shuffling through the speakers. Springsteen crooning about Thunder Roads, fitting for the storm brewing in my chest. Eli dozed against the passenger window, his profile sharp against the gray, lashes fanned like secrets on his cheeks. I stole glances, hating how natural it felt, how his presence filled the cab like it had back when we were invincible kids tearing up backroads in my dad's truck. But that text burned in my pocket, anonymous and venomous, stirring questions I didn't want answered. Who sent it? Beckett playing puppet master from afar? And Wifey? Christ, what did that even mean anymore? We hit the city limits as dusk bled into the streets, the Space Needle glowing like a beacon for the lost. I dropped Eli at his sublet in Capitol Hill, a walk-up crammed with thrift store furniture and posters of off-Broadway flops. Crash any time, he said, lingering in the doorway, thumb brushing my elbow. I mumbled something about work, peeled out before the pull could drag me under. My apartment in Belltown waited, all sleek lines and empty echoes, exposed brick walls I designed myself, a king bed that swallowed me whole. I poured a scotch, neat, and scrolled the sender's number. No hits, blocked it, but sleep dodged me, the ceiling fan whirring accusations. Work swallowed the week. Deadlines loomed for a waterfront redevelopment. Sustainable high-rises hugging the sound. My sketches blending glass and green space like a promise of harmony. My boss, Kendra, a sharp-eyed black woman from the South who'd clawed her way up from drafting tables to corner office, leaned over my desk Friday afternoon. Harlan, these are gold, but you look like hell spill. I shrugged, blaming the rain, but she saw through it, her laugh warm as bourbon. Love'll do that, or whatever this is. Kendra knew my type. Easy dates, no strings. But she'd cornered me once over coffee about figuring your shit out before 40 hits. I changed the subject, diving back into elevations. Saturday dawned crisp, the kind of blue sky miracle that tricks you into forgetting winter's grip. Eli texted at dawn. Hike? Discovery Park. Noon. Bring your straight guy denial. I snorted, thumbs hovering before typing fine. But no deep talks. Lies. We met at the trailhead, him in hiking boots and a beanie pulled low, me in cargos and a fleece that smelled like home. The paths wound through old-growth forest, ferns unfurling like green flames, the sound crashing distant below. We fell into rhythm, banter light at first. Roasting my latest failed Tinder swipe. His gig at a queer open mic where he slayed with monologues about loving the wrong shadows. Halfway up, sweat beating despite the chill, we crested a ridge overlooking the bay, ships dotting the water like toys. Eli dropped his pack, turning to me with that court stare. Remember the creek? How we'd swear we'd never grow up. I nodded, throat tight, the memory vivid. Our bodies tangled in the shallows, water lapping secrets. We did, though, grew up and apart. His voice cracked on the last word. Not apart, Noah. Never that. I just hid. From Dad. From everyone. From you, most of all. The confession hung, heavy as mist. I paced the overlook, boots crunching gravel. Hid what? That you're gay? I knew Eli. Back in high school, I knew. He flinched like I'd struck him. Knew and bailed anyway. After that summer, you ghosted. Went full straight arrow in Seattle, while I drowned in Portland with Beckett. The name again, a barb. I stopped, facing him. What the hell happened with him? And that text, who sent it? Eli's face shuddered, color draining. He sank to a log, elbows on knees. Beckett. He wasn't just intense. Obsessive. We met at that gallery. Me nursing a broken heart from some hookup. Him all charisma and clay-smeared hands. He sculpted me, Noah. Literal pieces, my face twisted in ecstasy. Agony. Called it art. I ate it up, finally feeling wanted after Dad's sermons. His words spilled, raw and unfiltered, painting a love that started electric and ended in chains. Beckett's jealousy flared over nothing. A lingering glance at a bar. A late text from a friend. Fights escalated. Shattered vases, bruises blooming like accusations. He said I was his forever, Eli whispered, rolling up a sleeve to reveal faded ink. A thorny rose cuff, Beckett's mark. And you, God, Noah, he fixated on you. My stomach nodded. Me? Why? Eli's laugh was bitter fog. Because you were the one who got away. The straight boy who kissed back. Beckett hacked my phone once, saw our old texts, the photos from the cabin. Started calling you Wifey as a joke at first, during those drunken nights. Eli's got his anchor, his little domestic dream. But it twisted. He saw you as the threat, the reason I couldn't commit fully. Sent me ultimatums. Cut you out or lose him. The world tilted, the bay below swimming. Those cabin weekends. Beckett crashing unannounced, turning our duo into a tense trio. Wine flowing, laughter sharp-edged. His arms slung casual over my shoulders as he slurred endearments. I'd brushed it off as bro vibes, but now it reeked of something darker. A web spun in the shadows. That text was him, I said, voice flat. Eli nodded, miserable. Blocked everywhere, but he's got ways. Stalked my Insta last month. I should have warned you. We hiked down in silence, the descent steeper than the climb. At the lot, Eli gripped my arm. This doesn't change us, right? Whatever this is. I wanted to say yes, to draw that straight line back to safety. Instead, I pulled him into a hug, his heartbeat syncing with mine, fierce and flawed. Doesn't change a damn thing. But it did. That night, alone with a pizza going cold on the counter, I unblocked the number. Who is this? Minutes ticked, then, the ex who knows. Ask Eli about the ring. Wifey deserves the truth. A photo attached, grainy, timestamped 2 years back. Eli on one knee in some Portland loft. A silver band glinting in candlelight, Beckett's face blurred but triumphant. My vision tunneled. Proposal? Eli shackled to that monster? I slammed the phone down, chest heaving, the room spinning like the world's worst carnival ride. Sunday blurred into calls I didn't make, sketches abandoned on the table. Kendra noticed Monday, pulling me into her office with takeout foe. Talk, Harlan. You're sketching hearts in the margins. I cracked, words tumbling. The hook of the past, Eli's pull, Beckett's shadow. She listened, chopsticks poised, then leaned in. Sounds like you're not as straight as you think. Or maybe you are, and that's the problem. Either way, own it, before it owns you. Her words lingered, a mirror I avoided. By Wednesday, Eli showed at my door, rain-soaked and desperate, a bottle of rye in hand. Saw the text. He's baiting you. Don't let him. We drank on the balcony, city lights smearing below, his knee pressed to mine. The air hummed, charged. Tell me everything, I demanded, and he did. The proposal a fever dream, accepted in weakness, annulled in terror after a night of screams and slaps. I ran Noah, back to Ridge Valley scraping by. But you're the constant, the one I measure against. His hand found mine, tentative, then sure. I didn't pull away. The kiss started slow, a question on his lips, blooming into answer on mine. Tongues tentative, then hungry, years dissolving in the heat. We stumbled inside, clothes shedding like old skin, bodies rediscovering maps we'd drawn in youth. His touch was worship, reverent on my scars, my doubts. Mine, exploratory, tracing the rose tattoo like a brand to erase. We moved to the bed, slow and shattering, gasps echoing off brick. After, tangled in sheets, he whispered, I love you, always have. I held him, words lodged, but the line I'd clung to snapped, leaving me free-falling into the unknown. Thursday brought hangover haze and a new text. Enjoy the pity fuck, wifey. He's using you to forget me. Rage boiled, but so did clarity. Beckett wasn't a ghost. He was a storm I could face. I texted back, stay gone, or I'll make sure you do. Eli slept through it, peaceful for once, and as dawn crept in, I traced his jaw, wondering if straight was just a story I'd outgrown. The week after that night unfolded like a fever dream, every hour laced with the aftertaste of Eli's skin. Salt and cedar, lingering on my sheets, my tongue. I'd wake to his texts. Coffee run? Or miss your snoring already? Pulling me from the blueprint haze at work. Seattle conspired with us, the rain easing to a drizzle that pattered like applause on cafe awnings. We met in hidden corners, Veretta Park at dusk, where Kurt Cobain's ghost wandered, or the Elliott Bay Book Company, losing hours in stacks of queer lit and architecture tomes. Eli read passages aloud, his voice wrapping around words like longing and unravel, making my pulse stutter. This is us, he'd say, eyes locking, and I'd nod, because denying it felt like betraying gravity. But Beckett's shadow stretched long, his texts a drip feed of poison. He'll break you like he broke me. Attached, audio clips, Eli's voice pleading in some long-ago fight. Beck, please, it's not about Noah. My gut twisted each time, but I deleted without reply, archiving the rage for later. Eli noticed my silences the way I check my phone mid-sentence. Block him for good, he urged one evening over fish and chips at Ivor's, the wharf's salt air whipping our hair. Seagulls wheeled overhead, scavengers like the ex in question. He's got no claim, not on me, not on us. The word hooked deep, a barb I couldn't shake. At the firm, sketches evolved, buildings less rigid, curves softening into organic flows, Kendra raising an eyebrow over my shoulder. Influenced by a muse? She teased, her grin sly. I flushed, muttering about new software. But inside, the shift hummed. Straight lines bending toward something alive. Nights with Eli blurred boundaries. Lazy mornings in my kitchen. Him in my boxers flipping pancakes. Flour dusting his curls like snow. We'd talk for hours, unpacking the years apart. My parade of safe girlfriends, his carousel of flings masking the ache for home. You were my North Star, he confessed. Fork paused midair. Even when I hated you for shining so bright without me. Yet doubt gnawed, insidious as Seattle's undercurrent. Was this real, or rebound wrapped in nostalgia? Late one night, post-love tangled in limbs, I voiced it. What if I'm just convenient? The straight guy who says yes once, then bolts. Eli propped on an elbow, quartz eyes piercing. You're not convenient, Noah. You're inevitable. That kiss under the bleachers? It wasn't practice. It was prophecy. His words landed soft, but they stirred the pot memories of Beckett's wifey taunt, now reframed as prophecy's cruel echo. The breaking point came mid-month, a gig pulling Eli to a theater festival in Tacoma. Come, he begged, but work chained me. Client presentations, all suits and spreadsheets. 2 days, I promised, dropping him at the light rail. His kiss goodbye lingered, fierce. Call if you need me. I nodded, watching the train swallow him, then drove to the office, burying the unease in CAD files. That evening, my phone rang, unknown, Portland area code. I answered on instinct, voice steady. Harlan. A pause, then a laugh like grinding glass. Wifey himself, Beckett Kane. The name slithered, and bile rose. What do you want? He chuckled, low and intimate like we shared secrets. Just checking in. Eli's spinning tales again? Poor baby. Always the victim. I gripped the balcony rail, city lights fracturing below. Leave him alone. Leave us alone. Us. Amusement dripped. Cute. But let's rewind, anchor boy. Remember the cabin? You, me, Eli, wine flowing, truth spilling. I saw it then, you playing house in his head. Called you wifey 'cause that's what you were. His fantasy wife, straight but bendy. He proposed to me wearing your old hoodie. For fuck's sake. Smelled like you. Rage blinded, my knuckles whitening. You're delusional. And done. He sighed. Theatrical. Delusional? I made him Noah. Pulled him from that Bible beat closet. Sculpted his edges sharp. You're the relapse, the safe harbor for his daddy issues. Ask him about the ring. How he pawned it to fund his escape. My money, his guilt. The line went dead, leaving echoes. I paced the apartment, heart hammering. The air thick with betrayal's afterbirth. Pawned? Guilt? The pieces didn't fit Eli's story, but doubt-rooted, thorny. I drove to Tacoma at dawn, tires devouring miles, coffee bitter on my tongue. The festival buzzed, tents strung with lights, actors milling like colorful birds. Eli was mid-rehearsal in a black box space, voice booming lines about fractured loves. I waited in the wings, chest tight, until curtain call. His face lit seeing me, but dimmed at my expression. Noah? What's wrong? We slipped to a dive bar nearby, neon buzzing open like a dare. Over IPAs I unloaded the call, the barbs, the ring. Eli's color drained, pint forgotten. He called you. Horror laced his whisper. God, I'm sorry. The ring. Yeah, I pawned it. Not for escape, for therapy after he trailed, eyes downcast. Beck hit me, Noah. Not once, but enough. The proposal was his way of locking the cage. I bolted, sold the damn thing for sessions to unpack the mess. It wasn't guilt money. It was survival. Relief warred with fury, my hand finding his across the scarred table. Why didn't you say? All of it. He squeezed back, tears brimming. Shame. Thought you'd see me broken. Not worth the detour. I pulled him close, bar be damned, murmuring into his hair. You're not broken. You're the whole damn map. We left arm in arm, the night air cool, his head on my shoulder as we walked to his motel. There, in the dim glow of a bedside lamp, we reclaimed ground lost to shadows. Touches turned tender, then urgent, lips mapping collarbones, hands reverent on hips, bodies aligning like long-separated continents. I choose you, I gasped against his throat, the words freeing something primal. He arched, whispering my name like prayer. Our rhythm a dialogue of give and take, climax crashing like waves on discovery's shore. After spent and sated, he traced my chest. No more hiding, for either of us. But Beckett wasn't finished. Morning brought a package at the motel desk. Unmarked, heavy. Inside, a clay bust, Eli's face contorted in silent scream. Note taped. Art imitates his lies. Tell wifey I said hello. Eli shattered it with a desk lamp, shards flying like accusations, sobs racking him. I held the pieces, vowing silently. This ends now. As we drove back, his hand in mine, the straight line I'd mourned felt like a relic, replaced by a path winding, wild, holy hours. Yet in the rearview, Portland loomed, a storm not yet spent. And as Eli slept beside me, I wondered, how deep did the roots go? How much uprooting before we bloomed? Fall deepened in Seattle, leaves turning the parks to fire, crimson and gold carpeting paths where Eli and I wandered hand in hand, testing the weight of public eyes. Some stared, a few smiled. Most scrolled on, city indifference our ally. It felt revolutionary, this quiet claiming. Coffee dates at Le Panier where he'd steal my Pano chocolate, laughing as crumbs dusted his shirt. Evenings on my balcony, jazz drifting from a neighbor's sax, his head in my lap as I read aloud from Baldwin essays on love's sharp edges. This is what I fought for, he'd murmur, fingers interlacing with mine. A love that doesn't flinch. Work thrived on the high. My waterfront designs won a city grant. Kendra toasting me with craft IPAs at the office happy hour. Knew that muse was magic. She winked, clinking glasses. Eli met her there, charming the room with tales of Tacoma triumphs, his arm casual around my waist. No one blinked. progress, wrapped in flannel and fog. But nights, when the city hushed, Beckett's specter stirred. No more texts, but Eli's sleep fractured, waking sweat-slick, murmuring apologies to ghosts. I'd soothe him, words and touches a balm, but the fracture lines spread, subtle as Seattle's fault lines. We planned a getaway, escaping to the San Juan Islands for a long weekend. Ferry slicing through slate waters, orcas breaching distant like omens. Friday Harbor welcomed us with cobblestone charm. A rented cabin perched on bluff overlooking the strait. No signal half the time, a mercy. We hiked Lime Kiln, trails scented with salal and sea, his hands steady in mine as we scanned for whales. See that? He pointed, a fin slicing silk. Like us. Diving deep, surfacing stronger. I pulled him close, kissing salt from his lips, the world narrowing to heartbeat and horizon. Evenings blurred into ritual. Clams steamed over driftwood fire, wine loosening tongues. One night, stars pricking the ink-black sky, Eli unpacked the unshared. Beckett wasn't always monster. Early days he was sunlight, taught me to sculpt, to see beauty in fractures. His voice wove the tale, intimate and aching. Portland's lofts alive with clay dust and midnight confessions. Beckett's hands shaping more than medium. Molding Eli's shame into art, pride into fire. He saw my queerness as revolution, said I was his revolution. The turn came gradual. Success swelling his ego, my mentions in Eli's journals twisted into rivalry. You were the saint in my stories, the pure one. He hated that purity, wanted to tarnish it. Hence Wifey. A jab at your straightness, making you complicit. I shifted on the Adirondack, fire crackling. It worked, kinda. Made me question everything. Honesty burned, but Eli's nod was grateful. Good. Questions lead here. He leaned in, kiss deepening, bodies igniting against the chill. We made love on the rug, slow and exploratory. His mouth charting my chest, my fingers unraveling him thread by thread, gasps mingling with waves below. Climax built like tide, cresting in shared shudders, afterglow wrapping us in whispered vows. No more saints, I breathed. Just us, flawed and fierce. Sunday brought storm clouds, ferry delayed. We holed up with books and board games, laughter echoing off cedar walls. But as we packed, Eli's phone pinged, signal returned. Curse. A voicemail transcribed. Miss me yet, Muse? Tell your anchor the bust was just foreplay. I've got more where that came from. Portland's lonely without my boys. Eli deleted it, face ashen, but the seed of fear took. He's escalating, I said, zipping the duffel. We report him. Restraining order. Back in Seattle, reality reasserted. Bills stacking. Rehearsals clashing with deadlines. Eli threw himself into a new play, Echoes of Exile, channeling shadows into script. I attended opening night at a Fremont black box, the house packed with artsy familiars. He owned the stage, voice raw as he embodied a lover haunted by exes. Lines like knives. You carve me open, call it creation, but the scars scream your name. Applause thundered. In the green room, I crushed him in a hug. Brilliant. You. Pride swelled, but his eyes held storm. It's him, Noah. All him. Post-show drinks at a dive-turned confessional. A castmate, Jax, a non-binary firecracker with blue-streaked hair, pulled Eli aside, whispers turning to shouts. I intervened, Jax storming off with, watch your boys' patterns. Eli deflated, nursing a gin. Jax knows about Beck, says I'm repeating cycles, latching to saviors. Doubt flickered, mine now. Am I? Your savior. He gripped my knee under the table. No, you're my equal. But yeah, patterns die hard. The fight brewed slow, erupting Tuesday over nothing. A forgotten dry cleaning pickup, my late night at the firm. You're pulling away, Eli accused, pacing my kitchen, curls wild. Like before. Straight Noah. Safe Noah. Hurt lashed back. And you're projecting. Every shadow's Beckett. Every delay a betrayal. Words escalated, voices cracking glass. "I left Portland for this?" he yelled. "To chase a ghost who won't commit?" I slammed the counter. "Commit? I'm here, aren't I? Risking everything for what? Your ex's games." Silence fell, jagged. He grabbed his jacket, door slamming echo. I sank to the floor, head in hands, the apartment vast and vacant. Hours later, a text. "Sorry. Scared you'll run." I replied, "Me too. Talk tomorrow?" Dawn brought coffee at his door. Apologies traded over mugs. "We're raw," I admitted, thumbing his cheek. "But worth it." He nodded, pulling me inside. Makeup sex a fierce reclamation. Bodies colliding urgent. Forgiveness in every thrust, every moan. "Stay," he gasped, and I did, the line between us blurring to one. But betrayal's scent lingered. Midweek, Kendra called me in, face grave. Client pulled funding, rumor of sabotage. Anonymous email to the board. Dredging your personal distractions. My blood iced. Beckett. Proof came Friday. IP traced to a VPN in Portland. Email signed a concerned artist. Eli's rage mirrored mine. We filed the report. Cops sympathetic but slow. Bureaucracy's grind. "He's cornered," Eli said, pacing. "Animals bite hardest then." That night, we fortified. Changed numbers, bolstered security cams. Curled on the couch, his head on my chest. I felt the weight. Love's cost, steep as Cascade Peaks. "Worth it," I whispered. His fingers traced my jaw. Every scar. Sleep claimed us, but dreams twisted. Clay hands reaching, wifey echoing like curse. Morning shattered peace. A knock urgent. Delivery. Another package, this one velvet box. Inside, the pawned ring, resized note. For the wife. "Marry him quick before I do." Eli retched, I dialed the station. The net tightened, but so did the noose. Fear coiling. Love's fire tested in forge. As sirens wailed distant, I held him, whispering, "We end this. Together." But in his eyes, I saw the fracture. Trust, once whole, now veined with doubt. And mine, cracking under the strain of a love that demanded everything. Winter's grip tightened on Seattle. The sound a steely mirror under lead skies, mirroring the chill settling in our bones. The ring incident lit a fuse. Cops moved swifter now, hauling in Portland PD for a welfare check on Beckett. His loft raided under harassment warrants. Eli and I holed up in my apartment, blinds drawn, takeout cartons piling like fortifications. "He's unhinged," the detective said over speaker, voice tinny. "History of priors, stalking, assault. We'll bring him in." Relief flickered, but Eli's eyes stayed shadowed. The ring's gleam haunting, even trashed in evidence lockup. We leaned on anchors. Kendra hosted game nights, her wife Lena, a therapist with a laugh like Huthfire, dispensing wisdom wrapped in hugs. "Trauma's a thief," she told Eli one evening over Monopoly. His hotel's toppling as he fidgeted. "Steals your map, but you redraw it one street at a time." Jax reconciled too, showing at our door with apologies and weed. The four of us puffing on the balcony, stars punching through clouds. "I projected my shit," Jax admitted, passing the joint. "Sorry, man. You too? Solid." Eli's laugh rang true for the first time in weeks, hand finding mine in the dark. Yet intimacy frayed at edges. Sex, once wildfire, turned tentative, touches seeking reassurance more than release. One night, post-dinner of ramen and rewatched Brokeback, Eli pulled back mid-kiss, voice small. "What if he wins? Poisons this?" I cupped his face, thumbs tracing freckles. "He doesn't. We're the antidote." We tried anyway, bodies slow dancing to reclaim ground. His size a map I followed blind. But climax eluded, frustration coiling. "Sorry," he muttered, rolling away. "Not your fault?" I lied, staring at the ceiling, wondering if love could weather siege. Work offered escape, the waterfront project surged, groundbreaking ceremonies looming. I threw in, sketching plazas alive with native plants, benches curved for lingering. Eli tagged along to site visits, his input sparking, "Make it theatrical, stages for street performers, echoes of story." Kendra beamed. "Domestic bliss suits you, Harlan." Blush heated, but pride swelled. This was us, building more than structures. The call came mid-December, snow dusting the Olympics like powdered sugar. Detective Ruiz, Kane's in custody, confessed to the package's emails. Broke down blubbering about losing his muse. Eli exhaled, collapsing into me on the kitchen stool. "Over." I nodded, kissing his temple. "Over." We celebrated subdued. Mulled wine at a Fremont Yule market, lights twinkling like promises kept. His hand in mine felt lighter, the city's pulse syncing with ours. But confession's hourglass ran low. Christmas Eve, fire crackling in my insert fireplace, tree twinkling with mismatched ornaments from Ridge Valley halls. Eli paced, gift unwrapped. A leather-bound journal, pages blank for our stories. "Noah," he started, voice pitched low. "There's more. About the pawn shop." My fork paused over gingerbread. "Tell me." He sank beside me, knees touching. "The money didn't all go to therapy. Half-funded a trip back to you. Seattle last spring. I watched your building from across the street, heart hammering. Saw you with Mia laughing in the lobby. Turned tail, but it broke something. That's when Beckett amped up. Sensed the pull. Guilt twisted, but understanding bloomed. You stalked me? Light to ease the sting." He winced. "Pathetic, yeah. But it clarified you're it. The endgame." I pulled him close, lips brushing his. "No more watching from shadows. We're in the light." The kiss ignited, urgent and affirming. Clothes shed hasty, bodies pressing to the rug, firelight gilding skin. Touches turned worship. My mouth on his tattoo, erasing thorns with tongue. His hands guiding mine lower, gasps building to crescendo. We shattered together, raw and renewed. Afterglow a cocoon of limbs and laughter. New Year's dawned crisp, resolution sharp. Therapy for Eli, couple sessions for us. Lena recommended a queer-affirming practice in Capitol Hill. Our first appointment a dive into depths. Betrayal's echo, the counselor Marisol, a Latina woman with eyes like steady harbors, probed. "How does it linger?" Eli spoke first, voice steady. "Like a bruise, tender, but healing." I added, "Makes me fight harder. For truth." Sessions unearthed layers. My straight facade a shield for Dad's unspoken expectations. Eli's hiding an echo of his father's fire and brimstone. "You're rewriting scripts," Marisol affirmed. "Progress inch by inch." Spring teased early. Cherry blossoms rioting pink along University Avenue. Eli's play transferred to a larger house. Reviews raving. Whitaker channels heartbreak into catharsis. Opening night, I sat front row, heart swelling as he bared soul on stage. After party buzzed. Cast toasting with champagne flutes. Jax cornered me by the bar. "He's glowing, man. You did that." Pride warmed, but a shadow flitted. Unmarked envelope in my coat pocket. Slipped during chaos. Inside, photo print. Us at the cabin, young and tangled. Scrawled, "Wifey's first sin. Beck sends love." Custody hadn't stuck. Beckett bailed. Vanished to parts unknown. Panic surged, but Eli steadied me. "He's fading. We report, move on." Cops logged it, promising surveillance. Yet fear seeded nightmares. Clay hands dragging me under, "Wifey a dirge." The climax crested Memorial Day, Eli's birthday. We escaped to Ridge Valley, roots calling. The old oak stood sentinel, initials carved deeper by time. Picnic spread, Mom's pie recipe. Beers chilled in the creek. Laughter flowed easy, stories looping like vines. Dusk fell, fireflies igniting. When Eli knelt, not with ring but words. "Noah Harlan, you've been my detour, my straight line bent true. Marry me? Not for show, for us." Breath caught, world stilling. The past flashed, Bleachers, cabin, storms weathered. Yes, I choked, pulling him up, kiss ceiling under stars. But joy's peak invited fall. Midnight, my phone lit. Congrats, wifey. But Eli's mine always. Attached. Video, time-stamped hours old. Eli at the creek. Alone earlier. Phone to ear, voice pleading. Beck, stop. It's over. Noah's my future. The ex's laugh crackled. Future? I'll burn it. Betrayal's knife twisted. Not Eli's fault, but the lie of safety shattered. He confessed at dawn. Tear-streaked. He called from a burner. Taunting. I hung up. But I held him, fury at Beckett eclipsing hurt. We fight. Together. Portland raid followed, sweat storming his hideout. Manic with mania, sculptures of us twisted in rage. He resisted. Shot in the fray. Critical but cuffed to bed. Eli visited once, post-arrest, emerging hollow. Forgave him, sorta. For me. Closure, bitter as roots. Summer bloomed, scars fading to stories. We planned a quiet wedding, backyard in Ridge Valley, friends and fog. Kendra officiated, Jack's best person. Vows exchanged under the oak. I choose you, detours and all. Rings simple, silver like promises. Yet in quiet moments, wifey echoed faint. A reminder of paths forged in fire. Love, we learned, isn't straight. It's the brave curve toward home. The wedding unfolded like a dream scripted by the Cascades themselves. Mid-July sun filtering through the oak's canopy, dappling the backyard in gold flecks that danced on our skin like blessings. Ridge Valley hummed approval. Mom's pies cooling on checkered cloths, Dad's rare smile cracking as he clapped Eli's shoulder, murmuring, "Treat him right, Whitaker." Friends dotted the lawn. Kendra in a sundress wielding a ukulele for procession. Jack's Anandi with flair. Lena stringing fairy lights that twinkled premature dusk. No grand church, no frills. Just us, vows etched in earth and echo. I stood at the altar makeshift. A arch of wildflowers Eli foraged. His eyes locking mine as he walked the aisle, simple linen suit hugging his frame. Curls tamed but rebellious. Heart thundered, not nerves but certainty. The kind forged in bleacher shadows and Seattle storms. Noah, he began, voice steady as creek water. You were my first question, my last answer. In a world of straight lines, you taught me curves hold the beauty. I vow to walk them with you. Through rain and revelation, doubt and dawn. Tears pricked. My turn choked. Eli, you crashed my safe world. Made it vast. From wifey whispers to this. I choose the chaos, the quiet you. Forever's not a cage. It's our horizon. Rings slid home. Silver bands etched with coordinates of Willow Creek. Cool then warm against vows sealed in kiss. Cheers erupting like fireworks. The reception blurred joy. Dances barefoot in grass. Jax's toast roasting our slow burn rom-com. Kendra's serenade to it last. Eli and I stole moments. Hands linked under tables. His thumb circling mine like Morse for mine. Night fell soft. Fireflies are confetti. As we slipped away to the cabin. Now ours, deeded by Mom in quiet gift. Inside, candles guttered. Bed turned down with rose petals Jack swore weren't cliché. We undressed slow, reverent. Fingers tracing vows in ink and scar. Lips mapping journeys from youth to yield. Husband, Eli breathed. The word new and nectar sweet. As I entered him, rhythm a hymn of homecoming. Gasps built to symphony. Bodies one in arch and release. Afterglow a tangle of limbs and laughter. Stars winking approval through skylight. Honeymoon called us to Maine. His pick, for lobster rolls and lighthouse lore. A nod to waters wild as us. Acadia trails challenged. Peaks rewarding with Atlantic vistas. Salt wind whipping confessions free. Think Beckett's rotting? Eli asked one cliffside eve. Arms around me from behind. News filtered. Trial pending. Psych eval painting him fractured. Abuse's cycle spun from his own buried pains. Pity him, I said, turning. But he's not ours anymore. Eli nodded. kiss fierce against crash of waves below. Back in Seattle, life layered anew. Condo hunt in Queen and views of the Needle are sentinel. Eli's theater tenure bloomed, directing a queer ensemble. My firm promoted me lead on eco-villages, design's breathing community. Sessions with Marisol tapered, but lessons lingered. Identity's not fixed. It's fluid, fought for. Dad visited once. Awkward beers on the balcony. His grunt approval when Eli joked about fixing the sink, wifey duties. Progress paternal and profound. Fall brought first anniversary, marked quiet. Picnic at Discovery, same ridge of revelation. Wine poured, toasts to detours. Still straight. Eli teased, head on my shoulder. I chuckled, honest. Nah, just yours. Love, we'd learned, defies labels. It's the ache and the ease, the fight and the fold. Yet echoes persist, soft as rain on glass. A letter from Beckett's lawyer, post-sentencing. Life suspended, therapy mandated. Apology scrawled shaky. I broke what I couldn't build. Forgive if you can. Eli read it aloud, voice even. Then burned it in the sink, ashes swirling to drain. Forgiven, he said. For the man, not the monster. Me? I traced his rose tattoo, faded now, and whispered, free. Winter's eve, snow rare and reluctant. We walked the sound, hands gloved, breaths clouding. Kids? He mused, tentative. I squeezed. Someday. Surrogacy, adoption, whatever fits. Dreams expanded, boundless. In the end, our story isn't triumph or tragedy. It's testament to compassion in cracks, freedom in fractures, identity as river, not road. We chose the bend, found home in the flow. And in Eli's quartz eyes, I see forever, not straight, but true.